Am I not? Yes. Secondly, it is based on the late Jaramogi Oginga. And Jaramogi, before he came to Kenya, he was with me in South Sudan. And therefore I feel that I am also part of Odinga. Yes. Now, having said that, we are now in the same boat. My special interest on the African history is in South Sudan. You have heard of war severally, not because of leadership, not because Africans are not incapable of doing anything like you are here, but it's because somebody is insisting on establishing an Arab Islamic state in Sudan. This is not African, is it? Yes, it is not African, because we in Africa do not live in religious societies, okay? There are those who worship the trees, those who worship the snakes, those who worship the water, the crocodiles. There are those who don't believe in religion, and they are part of us, okay? That's what we call Africa. Now, the problems I have in South Sudan is that I want to be an African. I want to have freedom to worship the snake, to worship God, to worship Allah, and to worship anything I want to, okay? That is the position of the Sudan People's Liberation Army and Sudan People's Liberation Movement, which is now heading the government of South Sudan, being headed by Comrade Dr. Salva Kiir Mayardit. So, I wish to take the chance of this forum to clarify one small misunderstanding, okay? We always have no chance of accessing quality information. Remember, what is in South Sudan is not a religious war, okay? It is not a racial war, but it is being imposed on the North. We are saying, no, let us have a secular constitution, not Islamic constitution, okay? So that anybody can decide where to belong. We are saying, let us live together as Arabs and African, but not African living in the schemes of Arabization and Islamization, okay? Please get this very clearly. Now, coming to the center of the African leadership, what does the ARR say about South Sudan? We are now approaching referendum, okay? We cannot now anticipate what will happen on the 9th of January. But what is the position of the African Resource Forum on South Sudan is referendum? I wish if the African Resource Center gives way for the people of South Sudan to decide via paid, and it will help us come up to join you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that was a minute well spent, because it has brought this issue of Southern Sudan. And as we talk about leadership, we mean everywhere. Yeah, we mean leadership that will improve quality of life for the populace. And we want to believe that this is what Jaramogi Oginga Odinga stood for, and we want to believe that the late Garang, this is what he fought for until he died in Southern Sudan. And we want to see a nation born that people will have equity, will have space to speak and determine their destiny. That is what we would wish to see. But the forum will say, let me end up by saying that yes, this type of forum where we can reflect on our leaders, where we can reflect on evidence that we see in a book like this. Because Professor here, in fact, the university should do something for him. Next time. We see somebody telling a first-hand story, because he was with him every day. We used to see some of your writings in KPU. We were young people. When KPU was banned, I think I was already in Form 4. So this is a true story. And we want to thank you very much. Let me say that this university is striving to develop as a center of excellence. And I could hear my colleague asking us, what have you done? Yes, this is part of it. You cannot create an alliance. I mean, we already have Kisumu Day, we have Kisumu High School, but we need institutions of center of excellence. And we want to believe that as GLUK continues to create what we call community colleges, the first community college that we now need is to go to Goasi. I think we have something. And that is where leadership is modeled. That's where the communities are empowered to be able to adopt health-seeking behavior. And we have several of them. And they will feed into Great Lakes University of Kisumu. And that, you can be sure, the library coming, we will consider whether we should name it after somebody, but this is progress. We want to say that we invite the visitors who came from outside to know that there is opportunity in Great Lakes University of Kisumu to re-engineer. Yesterday in the plane I was with Professor Lumumba, the anti-corruption chief, and we were sitting together. And he was telling me that public universities have died. Then I said, why are you saying so? And you go and look for the answer. Then I said that there is now enough space for even private university to continue to re-engineer what we believe has lost. And this is what Great Lakes University is also trying to cut a niche. Cut a small niche and show a difference. And leadership, as somebody said, don't wait that until you go to Parliament as Sonko. Start where you are. And we young people, I am still below the age that was said. No, I'm above that. I am 58. So we need to be sure that you are a leader in a household. That's the beginning. A leader in what? In a household. Can we see difference? Can we see households adopting small families that the children can grow well? Can we see households choosing to go for early primary health care? Can we see that leadership emanating, then going to the church, then going to the school, then going to the constituency, then going to the districts, and then going to the counties, and then going to the Senate Assembly, and then going to Parliament? Because we are governed by policies which are made in Parliament. We live policy, we drink policy, we drive policy, we learn policy, and if there are bad policies, bad nation. And this is what the late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was fighting. Bad policies. Policies for grabbing land, policies for identifying the few rich to go up. That's what he stood for.
And I also want to assure the ARRF that we have some universities that are still progressive but they are public. One of them is Masinde Muliro University where I work. You can as well work with us also to have such forums. But I want to admit that if at all Great Lakes University continues at this trend and organizes 2 or 3 of such fora, then we are really talking about a great university in the making. Thank you very much. Let us agree that we are all leaders and let us make a difference wherever we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. Just 2 or 3 days ago, I think 3 days ago, a friend of mine called me. He asked me if I was in town in Nairobi. I said, yes, I was. And you come to Prestige auction. To do what? I asked. I said, I've just seen your book and I'm leaving for the US tonight. Can you come here and sign the book? I went there. I signed the book. She left last night for the US. She teaches at Harvard. took it in America. They said, you know, this book is very interesting. I said, but you've read it. Yes, I followed the book in Civilization, and now I want to read it, but I think it's very good. We need what the President just said, that you Kenyans and many Africans, we want you to come up with books like this so that we can know the history of our own leaders, most of whom we know nothing about. I was talking to one professor the other day about certain leader whom I was going to name. Have you had any literature on certain individual leaders who are alive or who are gone? There are very few who have come up with things of their own. Just 2 or 3 days ago, we saw George W. Bush signing what was his memoirs. How many of our leaders do that? How many of our leaders do that? I said in my speech, problems we have with our fellows. We love that office of leadership so much so that we cannot even go to have our life health checked publicly because we don't want to know that a leader is sick. That's the kind of leaders we want. We have now. We got to get it. You, the young people, and I still repeat this with direct mindset. It is your turn.
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to give 1 minute to our student organization to just acknowledge the universities that are participating today before we close it up with a closing remark from both the African Research and Resource Forum and the Great Lakes University.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful session we've had. I want to begin by responding to what Professor Egara has just told us. That if Great Lakes, my names are Simiyu Abraham. I'm chairing the Student Governing Council in the Great Lakes University of Kisumu. And let me proceed. I was saying, I wanted to respond to what Professor Egara has said. He said that if Great Lakes will be able to hold 2 or 3 of such forums, then it will be seen as a great university. And that this is the second forum we are having discussing on leadership. And I believe that we are a great university. Is that not so?
Yeah.
Now, before we proceed, I want to begin by appreciating all the institutions, the NGOs and the universities and our friends and the students who responded to our invitation to come here. This shows us how much you're positive to seeing that we have wonderful leadership, which is key to development. And now I want to recognize the institutions who have come. And before I say something, I will allow one of the institutions which has requested, that is Masinde Muliro. They have their leader here just to say a word, and then we'll be closing. So we have Masinde Muliro University. They can just be upstanding as we recognize them. Any other member from the university? Thank you. They are on the way coming. Some are still on the way coming. We are Africans even in time. Now we have Kisumu Polytechnic. Kisumu Polytechnic. And these are all leaders. We have their chairman here. And maybe, do we introduce them or we just recognize them? Recognize them. Thank you. We have KCA University. Have they arrived? I also went to Catholic University. Do we have any member from there around? Wow. Nairobi University? Anybody from Maseno? Kenya Institute of Management? Yes. Do we have any other institution that has come that has not been recognized? Lake Institute? Wow. Then, do you have any other institution? So before I say something, please, say something. Wow.
I'm sorry, other members, we had 2 students who were on the way, but others were very engaged in Tamasha. We have Cultural Week, and this morning we have been had bullfighting. and some other activities going on. Secondly, we also have another